I'm just going to say.
Oh, Chris, don't do it.
CC is drinking my very special concoction this morning.
Woo! Let's go, baby.
I
Already
drink-
look swole. Let's present some justice.
I drink a little bone broth. It is very good for you. I get made fun of by both Schlereth and Chris Carter every day. CC just had a sip. He knocked out 100 push-ups in the commercial break. And there you go.
Okay. Ready
You
to
feel
go.
good now?
Yeah. Tomorrow when you watch the show, watch my skin.
Anyway, Mark Schlereth is here with us. As always, thanks so much for hanging out.
It's always a pleasure to be with you guys.
Feel free, I can pass this around.
No, we
You guys-
good.
Oh, you're
We
good?
good.
Okay, just making sure. All right, let's start talking some Cowboys. We'll get to Jerry Jones threatening to sue the NFL later in the show. But right now we're talking about Dak Prescott. Dallas, coming off their big win over the Chiefs last week, will take their good football juju into Atlanta this weekend. Much of the Cowboys' success, or juju, has to do with how well Dak has been playing. And while he might be upset with Roger Goodell, Jerry Jones has nothing but praise for his young quarterback.
He's playing right now at the highest level of anybody they see in the NFL. The main thing is that they comment that he's maybe as mentally tough and is mentally into it, or least discourageable with a bad play than any player they've ever seen.
Some high praise right there, Mark.
And he deserves it. He's a great young player.
He's a great player, but would you put him in the top tier of NFL quarterbacks?
Well, it depends on what you're talking about top tier. Are you talking about would I put him with Rodgers or would I put him with Brady right now and all that just based on experience? No. Drew Brees? Probably not. But would I put him in that very next tier of elite quarterbacks in the making? Absolutely. And he has got, I'm telling you, he has got an old soul about him.
Yes.
He's an adult. He's a young adult, and you have to have an adult playing that position. And it's exactly what he is. He's unflappable. He calls plays. When things break down, you heard Jerry Jones talk about it. Doesn't bother him. He continues to lead this football team. He has not gotten enough credit for what he did last year, and he's not getting enough credit for what he's doing right now with all the turmoil that the Dallas Cowboys, that surround the Dallas Cowboys. He is the steadying force with that football team. And that, to me, says this guy is going to be in that next elite group of quarterbacks that comes up and is compared to the Rodgers and the Bradys and the Breezes of the world. Dak Prescott's going to be one of those guys.
I understand why when it comes to those three names you listed, Rodgers, Brady, Breeze, those guys are in a group by themselves.
Correct.
Because not only are they, Aaron Rodgers' injury notwithstanding, still playing at a super high level. We have seen them play in the biggest games and the biggest moments at the highest level imaginable. So those guys, while Chris would say their cement is still dry, they could stop playing.
Yes.
The cement would get, I'm sorry, the cement's still wet, but the cement would get dry quick and they'd go to Canton immediately. But Dak can make an argument for himself against everyone else. Like, against, you want to make the argument of Dak against Russell Wilson. You want to make the argument of Dak against Carson Wentz. You want to make the argument of Dak against pick your favorite quarterback other than those three. He can do it. And we're now, I understand it's still early in his career, but we do have to recognize that of everyone that's ever played the game, Dak Prescott has the second best quarterback rating. Of everyone who's ever played the game, he has the best touchdown to interception ratio. Of everyone who's ever played the game, he has a top 20 yards per attempt. So he's not just check down Charlie out there. Like that, his stats through 24 games started are really remarkable for a guy who doesn't seem to get primary or even secondary credit on his team.
Well, I think that one of the issues here is who's the messenger. All right? That's Jerry Jones. So does it take some shine off of who Dak really is as a player? Does it take any credibility away from the statement? Because Jerry says a lot of crazy stuff. All right. Last year he talked about Tony Romo. This is the best I've ever seen Tony Romo look in practice. Like, oh, he's ready to play. He could get into an NFL game right now. He also said some stuff, I think, about Brandon Weeden. Brandon Weeden throws the prettiest ball I've ever seen. And then they should have drug tested him to see if he was smoking weed. Okay. Because we know that not to be true. No one can market a product like Jerry Jones.
Right.
But Jerry got it right in drafting Dak. And Jerry got it right in last year, not trying to force Tony Romo back into the starting lineup. And also Jerry and them got it right as far as allowing Tony Romo to start his second career, because that is the type of support that Dak needs as the franchise quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. He does everything that I would want him to do. I'm not disappointed in one area of his game. And he is an old soul. When you talk to the offensive coordinator, Scott Linehan, his ability to be able to dissect defenses and hit the volume of offense that Scott has put on his shoulders has been incredible for a guy that has started 24 games, or that's
24 games.
24 games. So I'm very impressed with Dak. I think the great comparison would be people like Cam Newton, Russell Wilson. Compare his numbers to them. Watch him evolve as a passer. Now, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, Tom Brady, those guys are in another class. Ben Roethlisberger, he's in another class. All right? They've earned that. But give Dak time. He will be in that same class. And I believe that Dak will lead the Cowboys to a Super Bowl victory.
At some point. You're not talking about this year. I just want to make sure for the audience, I don't want them sending that to you.
Yeah, they can send it to me, but I believe he'll win a Super Bowl for the Dallas Cowboys.
Hey, come get a taste.
Okay.
He ain't afraid. So I'm talking to Scott Linehan last year as a rookie because I'm like, what's putting this guy, what's setting him apart? He goes, go look at this play. And it was just a normal combination. It was a drag slant.
I have to admit, because I said on the show yesterday, I'm not into stealing, but I did steal that from you because I know Scott's one of your boys.
Right. So we run a typical combination, drag slant, meaning you run a slant with the X receiver and you drag. It's either a fullback, whatever. It was Cole Beasley coming across, and a drag is just, it's just a flat route, right? It's a 1 yard route. So the linebackers following, or the safeties following Cole Beasley, got upfield shoulder. If and that's the first read, if he throws it, it's a 1 yard gain. The guy gets tackled out of bounds. Beasley turns the route to an up. Like he just goes out and up. And Dak is under pressure. It's a 5-step. You're telling your offensive line, attack, cut. So now all of a sudden he's somebody's face. He just casually backs up, allows it to happen. The slant goes out. Everybody, it clears that sideline route. And he just casually backs up, avoids pressure, waits, flips it out there. Boom. And it was never talked about. It was never practiced. He's got this old soul about him. He saw the receiver go, man, this guy's got me covered. This route is no good. He changes it on the fly, and Dak's like, okay, I'm cool with that. Let me just back up here. Let me just hold up. This is a rookie at about week 5 making those adjustments on the fly. And that's why Scott was like, old soul, this kid has got it. He is going to be great.
I think the reason we're even having this discussion because he's a great quarterback. So why are we devoting an entire segment to whether he's in the top tier or not? Because Dak Prescott for the last year and a half has been playing with an asterisk by his name, right? He's a great guy, but last year he was a rookie. We don't have a ton of film on him. He's a great guy, but he's got a fantastic offensive line. Yeah. He's a great guy, but that running back he's got is really leading him. So I think that he lives every day and he takes the field every Sunday with that little asterisk, like, let's see what he can do without all three of those
things. We did the same thing with Tom Brady. Only reason why he wins is Belichick. Only reason why he wins because their defense is good. Only reason why he wins because they have a running game.
How long before you stopped doing that?
He put about 3 championships, and then everyone just did duck mouth.
The last note on this, as far as how good the start of his career has been through 24 games. The greatest start of any quarterback's career ever was Kurt Warner. Now, he was a little different case. He wasn't right out of college, but it was the greatest start ever. The second greatest start is your guy, Dan Marino. By year 2, he put up the greatest season up to that point any quarterback ever. 3, it's Dak Prescott. Wow. Like, he has been spectacular through the first season and a half of his career.
All right, Mark, stick around. Coming up, you are not going to believe the latest trash talk in the NFL. It's like crazy. That's next on First Things
It's so good.
First.
And it's a friend of the show.